Hi everyone, Amber here from Majestic. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to be sewing up the fall 2024 Wild West Puzzle Mystery Quilt from Cotton Cuts. So thank you to Cotton Cuts for allowing me to be an ambassador again. This is my fourth Puzzle Mystery Quilt as an ambassador and my fifth one total, and I'm so excited. If you have been following along, you know that my friend Sean from The Guy Who Sews picked my colorway, and my colorway is Josie. So I'm so excited. I want to show you real quick, if you did not see my YouTube short about the box real quick, if you have pre-ordered your entire quilt up front, you will receive this lovely box from Cotton Cuts. And then once you open it, has a whole bunch of goodies. You have a like a welcome to Wild West, and then you open it up and a whole bunch of stuff. We have our color card. This is so important. This is what we use on the back to keep track of all the different fabrics, because all our clues are labeled by letter since each of us has a different colorway. And then on the inside, there is all sorts of helpful information as far as the dates, as well as like how to get in contact with Cotton Cuts, how to participate in their Facebook group. Super helpful information. If you are receiving your shipments monthly, you definitely want to, keep an eye on the dates here. And then we have our Flat Nancy. So this is so cool. Every month, once you finish your block, take a picture of it with this Flat Nancy, and you can post it in the Cotton Cuts group. All the information is on the back, and at the end, you'll be entered to win in like different prizes and stuff. It's so much fun seeing all the blocks like come together in all the different colorways. This is new this year, and I'm so excited about this. It kind of tells you, it does tell you every month how many pieces are in your kit. So you can just double check, make sure that you have everything that is correct. And then lastly, it has all our clues all the way up until month 10. And I believe if you've ordered an Oops kit, it would be in here as well. Extra borders will not ship out till at the very end. So what is most important for this month is Clue 1. And what is really awesome is Clue 1 always ships with a bonus gift. So there are some pens in here, and I have received similar ones. They work amazing. So thank you to Cotton Cuts for throwing that in. If you have not signed up yet and you'd like to join, you can use my code. It's Amber West when you sign up, and you'll get a bonus gift this first month. So because it comes with a box, I do not have the clue inside it. So if you are getting monthly, then there'll be a printout paper that looks like this, shipped each month with your clue. If you have your box, Cotton Cuts is doing something different this year. This Puzzle Mystery Quilt, they have an evidence locker. So instead of worrying, oh no, I didn't get the email with the clue, you will be able to log into this evidence locker and access the clue instructions immediately on the release date. So for this month, for the large size in Josie, we are sewing up two different blocks. We have section 1A. We're making two of these, and we have section 1B, and we're also making two of these. So I'm really excited. Let me know in the comments what colorway you chose, if you're doing the small or the large. I hope you find the tutorial helpful. I'll have a timestamp for section 1A and then 1B if you need help with a particular step. In my tutorials, I like to go through it in real time. I do not time lapse them. So I hope you find that helpful. Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if it's your first Puzzle Mystery Quilt. It's so much fun, and it's a great community to be a part of. And I feel so privileged to be able to be an ambassador for Cotton Cuts. So again, I hope you enjoy the tutorial. If you do, please consider subscribing or giving me a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it so much. So enjoy. All right, so we are on month 1 of Wild West. I have my printed out clue here, and what I love most is on the bottom, it shows all the different pieces with the letter, So I use my color card and I lay my pieces out in that exact order. That is most helpful to me as I'm sewing. And I'm also using a 7010 needle, and I have some Aurifil thread. I am sewing on a Singer 5528, and then I have my pressing mat here. So this first month, we have 2 of section A and 2 of section B. They're both quite large blocks, and use all the colors. So I can't wait to show you how to make it because it's going to look great. So on the back, we're going to start with section 1A. If you're new to my tutorials, these instructions will give you, for example, step 1.1 tells you make 4. I always cut it in half and do 2 because during my tutorial, I'm only making 1 of each block. But you want to definitely follow this so you can do all yours at once. So our first step, 1.1, we need a small A triangle and a small D triangle. We need actually 2 of them. So for the Josie colorway, A is blue and D is white. And I prefer to lay my pieces out exactly as they're shown. That way when I flip them together to sew, they're already, aligned for me. Okay, so I am going to stitch them both at the same time. You can clip or pin them together. The awesome thing is that they are die cut, so they line up perfectly. And I am going to chain stitch them together. If it's a smaller piece, I do not clip them. And also, I find it helpful to hand crank my needle in to begin with, so that way my fabric doesn't get pushed down into the feed dogs. And I'm also sewing at a full 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm terrible at sewing a scant 1/4 inch. As long as you are consistent with your blocks and your seam allowance, your quilt is going to turn out looking great. So if you are sewing a small colorway, your instructions will be different. Our blocks may look similar, but the instructions are different because it's a smaller quilt overall. Okay, so for this here, kind quilt includes little arrows. That tells us which way we are pressing our seams, and we are pressing our seams towards the D triangle, which in the case for the Josie colorway is the white triangle side. And I always press the back of my seams first and then gently open them. I'm not using starch or water because I don't want to accidentally warp my blocks or shrink them. Also, I do not trim up any of mine to like the final measurements it's shown. This is, I believe it's my 5th Puzzle Mystery Quilt, and I have not had a problem with anything aligning by not squaring things up. Okay, so now we are on step 1.2, and we are going to make one of them because they need 2. So for one of these, I'm going to set to the side. And so now we need a D square to the right of our half square triangles. Okay, and our D square is this white fabric again. So I'm lining up the edges and I'm making sure that I'm sewing on the correct side. I've definitely turned it around on itself before on accident. So I'm just being extra mindful.
Sure.
And I'm just making sure that I'm trimming all my threads, and our arrows are pointing to the right hand side. So we are pressing to that D rectangle. I mean D square. Sorry. All right, so now we're on step 1.3. Now we need to add a D rectangle onto the top of what we just made in step 2. So again, our D rectangle is this white fabric. And so since this is a longer piece, I am going to clip it together. So I'm going to put them right sides together, line them up first. And again, they should line up perfectly because everything is die cut. So one of my favorite parts about cotton cut, everything is ready to go for you. So you can just get your clue and start sewing. You don't have to worry about cutting or anything like that.
Yes, what? What?
And then for this one, our seams are being pressed up towards our D rectangle. So I am going to press the back first and then gently open. Okay, so now we're on step 1.4. We need our large D square, and we are adding that on the very top of the piece that we just finished in 1.3. So again, I'm going to put them right sides together, line up the edge, clip them so they don't move on me. And I found with the Aurifil thread, it kind of curls up. So I try to hold the tails. If I'm using a polyester thread, normally I don't need to do that. But something about the Aurifil in my machine, they will curl. So I make sure I try to hold my threads whenever I'm starting a new piece. Okay, and again, these seams are being pressed up towards that large D square. And this block was folded in our clue. So if you want, you can try to press out the crease now. I will probably do that later because that one might need a little bit of steam because that's pretty pressed in. Okay, so this is what you should have so far up to step 1.4. So I'm going to set that to the side. So now we are on step 2.1, and we need our same piece that we started with our other block from 1.1. And we are going to attach a D square, to the top of it. So make sure I put them right sides together, and I'm sewing along the correct seam. Like I said, it's so easy for me. I've switched on squares so many times, sewing the wrong side by going too fast and not really paying attention. And this one as well, our seam is being pressed towards the top. Okay, so now 2.2, we need another large rectangle in our D fabric. So this first block has a lot of fabric D in it. So in the case of Josie, that is our white fabric. I'm curious to see how it looks in the other colorways. Yes. And then for this one, our seams are being pressed towards the rectangle. I'm so excited about this colorway. The fabrics are so bright and cheery. If you haven't checked out Sean, his channel is The Guy Who Sews on YouTube. He actually chose this colorway for me, and I chose the Tombstone colorway for him. Okay, so this finishes up our step 2 instruction. So I'm going to set it to the side. We have step 3 before we put everything together. So now for step 3.1, we need a square. So fabric A is our blue TVs. And then we need a fabric D triangle to the right. I'm just trying to grab that here. And I always lay them out again exactly as our instructions show, to make sure that when I am putting them onto each other, that I am not accidentally sewing the wrong way. Okay, so it's going to look like this. I'm going to start with the D fabric first. Lining my seams. And I always keep my color chart right next to me, as well as the instructions, so I can double check, especially when we're first starting a colorway and you might not have them memorized or anything. Okay, so now for this, we are pressing our seams towards that A square. So I'm going to press the back first and then gently open. Okay, so now we need our F triangle. So I'm folding that right sides together. And it still should line up perfectly with that die cut piece. Okay, and then for this one, we are pressing our seams towards the F triangle.
Different.
Okay, so now for step 3.2, we need to add a large C triangle to our 3.1. And for Josie, our fabric C is the green. So it's going to look like this. So I am going to lay them right sides together. Since it's one large piece, I'm not worried about lining up the centers. So I am going to clip this since it is also a large piece, so it doesn't accidentally shift on me. And then for this one, our seams are being pressed towards that large C triangle. And when I'm pressing these seams, I am lifting up my iron and literally pressing. You don't want to iron like you're ironing clothes. That will make your blocks shift and warp. So definitely make sure that you are picking up your iron and pressing. that will make a big difference in the shape of your blocks and how they turn out. Okay, so this is what our step 3 looks like. And now we got to put it all together. So for step 4, we need to join 2.2. So 2.2 was this, our second block that we made with the D rectangle on the right hand side. We are joining that to the top of step 3. So we want to make sure our C triangle is to the right, bottom right, and this will be on top. Our A fabrics are going to align. So that's how you know you did it correctly. And we have a seam here in the center. So how I do this is I'm going to fold it right sides together, and then I bring it really close to myself. Like I'm going to try to do it on camera, but I line them up, and our seams are pressed in opposite directions, so they will nest together. And I clip that first. And by clipping that first, hopefully it doesn't shift, and our seams will match up as best as we can. And then I align the remainder of the side. Okay, we'll stitch them together. And if your blocks are not like perfectly square, so for example, here you can see one of them are a little bit taller, but if I look from the back here, where that rectangle is in the back, yes, it's a little taller, but I lined up my seam here with the blue on the right hand side. So that just gets hidden in the seam allowance. So don't stress if things are a little bit, if they're not perfectly even on the edges. A lot of the times you can hide it in the seam allowance and it will look just as good. And then for this one, we are pressing down towards that C, the block that has the C triangle in it. So I'm gently going to open. And I'll show you what I mean here too once I give this a good press. And sometimes I like to press my other seams. I don't have a clapper, which is like a wooden piece that you can put over it that helps them to lay more flat. Okay, so our seams line up perfect. I'm really happy with that. But you can see over here that my top block is a little bit wider on the top than the bottom. So I'll just hide that extra in the seam allowance when it comes time. Because now, you'll see how I do that right here. Because now for step 5, we are taking the piece that we made in step 1 and attaching it to the right of the piece that we just did. So I'm going to show you how I do that. We have center seams here. So first I'm going to put them right sides together, but then I'm going to turn it towards me so I can really see, and I am going to nest those seams again. And I'm going to clip that first and then lay out the rest. I might need a few more clips since it's such a large block. So you might be able to see here, again, where that rectangle on the bottom is a little bit wider, but I'm just hiding it again in that seam allowance. So if I show you closer up, my seam is aligned with this bottom block, and this here is going to get hidden in the seam allowance. I'm going to take my 1/4 inch from that top fabric. So I found that the Puzzle Mystery Quilts are very forgiving. Don't feel like you have to tear everything out if it's not lined up perfectly. Okay, and for this one, we are pressing to the left-hand side, so the side that has that large C triangle. For me, that was kind of like the anchor point. So to make sure that I'm pressing to the correct sides, just because it's such a large piece and it stands out that it's that bright green color. Okay, and again, this is a large block, so I'm trying not to pull it. And I'm going to press that seam from the front. So I'm actually going to start at the center and work my way down and up, pressing those seams. Actually, I have to adjust it a little bit because it's such a large block. It's hanging off my pressing mat. Okay, so you can see here that our center is aligned. That was the piece that I matched first. And our block looks pretty square. So even though I had those couple of seams that overhung, it's all hidden within the seam allowance. I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so this completes 1A. And now we're going to begin our 1B block. All right, so we just finished our 1A and set it to the side. Now we're going to start 1B, which also has 2 blocks. So again, I'll be putting one of them together on video. So I'm cutting all these in half where it tells me to make 2. So if you're doing both blocks at once, again, you want to make 2. So the first thing that we need is our fabric B, and again, I'm always checking because I'm so new. It's a new colorway. I want to make sure that I'm getting it right. So we need fabric B and fabric E. Fabric E is this orange color. And now there's a step 1.1, 1.2, and then 1.3. So 1.2 also has half square triangles, so I am going to do them at the same time as 1.1. So this is 1.1 here. Now 1.2 needs a F triangle and a B triangle. And I'm just sewing them at the same time so that way I can chain stitch these pieces and then I have to cut less thread. Okay, so I am aligning them. Again, they line up perfectly. I especially like to hand crank in on these pieces that have like a triangle, because I feel like if any of them are going to get eaten by the feed dogs, it's the one that come to a point like that. Okay, so now I'm going to put these right sides together. And I like sewing like this because that first piece acts like a leader and helps pull the second half square triangle through. If you find that your feed dogs are eating a lot of your fabrics, you could also use what's called a leader piece and just sew like a scrap to begin with and then put your cotton fabric through. That is also very helpful. Okay, so our piece that has a BE, we are pressing towards the B side, so that is up. So this is our 1.1, and again, I have my fabric chart to my right. I'm just double checking so easy with all the different colors, especially if they're similar colors, to get them flipped around. And now our fabric that has the F, we are pressing again towards the B side, but that is going to be our bottom left triangle. Okay, and now in step 1.3, we are taking what we sewed in our 1.1 and attaching it to the top of our 1.2 piece. So that way it makes like a flying geese. Our two B fabrics are on the left-hand side, and these are alternating. So your E fabric should be on top and your F fabric on the bottom. Again, I'm going to put them right sides together. And for this one, we are pressing our seams towards the top. Okay, and then I'm going to set it to the left for a moment because our step 2 is different. We need one of the medium B triangles. So those are some of the larger ones that we have. And then 2 E smaller triangles to the left and right. We're making a flying geese. So we have one on each side. And I'm going to start with my right hand side first. And it will line up perfectly to that much larger triangle. And I prefer to start at the top center point to sew. I don't think it matters which way, but I found that way easiest for me. And for both of these, we are pressing towards our smaller E triangle. So press this side first. And again, making sure not to pull or press to like move back and forth with my iron so these do not warp. Okay, so now our left-hand side, I'm going to place them right-hand sides together. And I find this one now to start easier at the top here. All right, and again, we're pressing this one to the top left. Okay, so now we're on step 3. We are taking our step 2 and rotating it to the left. So our E pieces are on the left-hand side. And then we need our step 1.3. This is the piece here, and we're putting that on the right-hand side. And again, because this is a large triangle, there's no seam on this side, so we don't have to worry about matching up seams. So I'm going to put them right sides together, align them nicely. And because it is a little bit bigger, I am going to clip it just to make sure. And one thing you want to be mindful of when you're sewing is that your seams on the back are not flipping over. That can happen very easily. So I try to be mindful, especially because my presser foot has a lot of pressure that I can't adjust. And sometimes it wants to flip the seams back on themselves. So something just to be mindful of as you're sewing. And so now for this step, we are pressing to the left hand side. Gently open. And if I have little, like, where the threads are hanging off, I try to pull them out now. It saves cleanup later on. This one isn't so tight, I'll have to trim it. But that's something else you can do as you're pressing, just to save yourself at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna set that to the side because step 4, we are doing something different. So now we need another B medium-sized triangle, but we need a D fabric on the left, and our D is that white fabric, and an S triangle on the right. F is that bright pink with the scissors. Okay, and so again, I'm going to start with the right hand side, line everything up. Okay, and we are pressing towards the smaller triangle, so we're going to press towards the top right. And now we're going to attach on the left-hand side, put them right sides facing together. Again, they line up perfectly with that die cut. Okay, and then we are pressing to the top left. Okay, so now we are on step 5. So I'm going to put step 4 to the side for a minute. Now, step 5, we need a large or medium-sized E triangle and 2 B small triangles to the top left and right. So put them out. It's the same steps that we've been doing. If you get really used to this, you could probably do these kind of all at once and chain piece them. How my brain works, I still like to go in order, one step at a time. That way I'm not mixing anything up. Okay, and now I'm pressing to the top right. And repeating for that left-hand side, making sure that I line them up nicely. Taking time to make sure that they're really aligned will really help keep your blocks squared up as well. Okay, and again, pressing to that left-hand side. Okay, so now we are on step 6. It says join step 4. So this was our step 4 with the D and F triangle. And we are joining it to the top of step 5. So literally the one that we just made. Again, you're going to see that lighter pink. Our B fabrics are making that chevron. So that's how you know you have it aligned correctly. And again, I'm just taking my time to align them. And I like clipping for when they get a little bit longer. Okay, and so for this step, we are pressing towards the top. So I'm pressing the back and then gently opening it. Okay, and we're going to set that to the side. We have one more section to make. So now we are on step 7.1. We need a small F square, which is our pink fabric with the scissors, and a small D square. Our D fabric is going to go on top of the F, and we are going to sew them. And then for this one, we are pressing our seams down towards that F fabric. So gently opening. Okay, and now for 7.2, we need our last D rectangle piece, and we are attaching it to the left-hand side. Again, I'm going to clip these. I'm clipping the center, just even though there's not a seam, just so it doesn't shift. I think. Okay, and for this one, we are pressing towards the left, that large rectangle. Okay, so now we have 3 separate sections here that we are going to be combining. So we want to pay extra special attention. So step 8, it says rotate step 6 as shown. So step 6 is our piece that has the F and let me just double check. Yeah, the F and the D fabric. And we are rotating it to the left of step 3. So this was our step 3 with the rectangle. You can see that here. And now this is our piece that we made in step 6. We turned it to the left-hand side. We know it's right because we have our B chevron here. We have our D triangle here and our F triangle. So our F fabric should be across from each other and our D fabrics. And now this is where there's a center seam here, and I want that to align as best as I can with this point of my flying geese. So what I like to do is I'm going to put them right sides together, but I like to really like bring them close to me. I'm going to try to do it through the camera, but I might have to adjust it and kind of like peel this back. And I can tell if my center seam is aligned with that center point here. And it is. So I'm going to clip that first and then clip my edges. I'm going to do my best to not let that shift and get that as centered as possible. Okay, and so this is going to be pressed towards the left-hand side again, towards the side that has the larger D rectangle. So I'm going to press the back first, and then gently open it. Okay, and so now if we look closely, my center seam here is lined up pretty perfectly. So now I am going to put this here, and so we've already rotated step 6 and joined it to the left. Oh, you know what? I did this, I reversed it. So it wanted us to rotate step 6 and put it to the left of step 3. This is step 3. So it actually wanted us to do this one first. I just did it by the picture. It really doesn't matter the order that you do it, as long as it is the seams are pressed the correct way and it's in the right, facing the right direction. So I have my D rectangle here. This is correct. My centerpiece, you can see the B fabric here is making a chevron. And now this piece 3, or step 3, is to the right of our step 6. And I know that's correct because our E fabrics, which is this oranges fabric, is going to line up. So you might have attached these two in a different order. That's fine. Or, followed the directions correctly. But like I said, as long as it matches the picture, and for this one, there's no center seam like there was here. So I don't need to worry about that. I just need to make sure my edges are all aligned. So I'm very visual when it comes to patterns. So I tend to look at the picture more so than reading it, even though I already read it to you and still did it in the opposite direction. Okay, and this one is also being pressed to that left-hand side. Okay, and then gently open it. And when they get quite large, sometimes I like to press the other seams. They start to start popping up on me, just to get them as flat as possible. Okay, and like I said, for this step 8, just double check that you have it going the right way, because I reversed how I attached the two pieces. But this is our step 1B, and you should have, our piece 1B, you should have 2 sections of these completed. Okay, and so now I want to show you how I store my patterns or my pieces. So our large blocks are 1A. So what I do is I put that on a sticky note, and the sticky notes don't always like stick very well, but I gently place it on top. And this one is so large, I'm going to fold 1A in half. And our long pieces here are 1B. And so at the end, it uses, when we get our final instructions to put this together, it tells us like attach 1A to 7A. So it helps if you label these ahead of time. So this is our 1B section. So again, I'm going to stick that on, fold them in half, and I kind of like set them on top of each other. And then I take the bag that the clues came in, and I put them back into that bag. So that way I have them all separated and labeled and ready to go in that month 10 when we get our final piecing instructions. It will make it so much easier. And I put my clue in here as well. And if you're getting these monthly, I recommend storing your chart in there. Or if you've prepaid ahead of time, I just then stick it in the box. So that is how I keep my clues organized. All right, so we have already finished month 1 of our large Josie Puzzle Mystery Quilt. You should have 2 sections. Even if you're not doing a Josie, just the large size, you should have 2 of 1A and 2 of section, I think I'm upside down, 2 of section 1B. Do not forget to put pictures in the Facebook group with your Flat Nancy so you can enter to win some fun prizes. And again, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you to Cotton Cuts for allowing me to be an ambassador. And again, if you enjoyed the tutorial, please consider subscribing or giving me a like. It does help my channel grow, and I appreciate it so much. See you next month. Bye.